Dear black people, it's me again. I want to talk about something, and this is to black mothers, especially, and black fathers. Do not, I repeat, do not tell your children about your failures in life. This whole, they must learn from my mistakes, no. Let me break it down to you. Humans will remember negativity 10 times more often than positivity, especially if you have that negative aura about you. If somebody lives close to you and you have a negative aura and you tell them negative things, you are going to bring them down. You're not going to uplift them. Why do I say in business you must listen to an hour of motivational speech each and every day? Because I want to destroy this aura of negativity that permanently hangs over black people in the United States, regardless of how rich they are. Being black in the United States is negative. I'm not talking about all this, oh, we black and we proud, but I'm not talking about all that crap. I'm talking about the reality. It has a negative connotation. It's portrayed as negative. Black heart, black spirit. It's all negative, 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 right? So I want to convey to you, you don't need to confess to your child that you were on welfare, that you were homeless, that you were beaten, that you were this and that. Stop. No. As a parent and a part of child rearing, you want to present only the positive. And for you stupid people who are not going to get it, you are creating a world for your child. I should probably really put this on video, but anyway, you are creating a world for your child. It's just like you don't decorate your baby room with scenes from the 60s when black people had dogs sicked on them or hanging in trees. Why don't you do that? Because you want your child to be happy. But it seems like as soon as black children start walking and talking, black parents want to bring them down. Well, you don't know how hard I had it. Oh, I was home. I was on welfare. I did you need to appreciate what you... No, you feed the kid. That's what you're supposed to do. You house the kid. That's what you're supposed to do. And you're supposed to hug them and you're supposed to love them. And everything has to come from a place of love. We're always talking and always hearing about the biggest problem with black America. No, this is the biggest problem. Your parents did it. Their parents did it. Just negative, negative, negative. There have been white people who have written books targeting white people who have said this is how you create an advantage in your child having a positive attitude. Have you ever met a child that was always smiling? Do you think that their parents sit them down and go, you don't know how hard I had it. Oh, let me tell you about I was raped. No, stop it. Emphatically, stop it. Do not, I repeat, do not tell your child about your failures in life. I keep saying I'm a realist. I'm a pragmatist. A part of that is understanding in what situation is it appropriate to do something like that. Your child is not your friend. Let me repeat that because apparently some of you idiots have been listening to Good Morning America a bit too much in the Today Show. Your child is not your friend. Single moms, your little boys are not your friends. They're not grown versions of the man that left you. They're not grown versions of your ex-husband. That is your child. That will always be your child. What is that relationship? That means from age 0 to about 25, you are in the parenting role. From age 25 on up, you are in the advisory role. You are never friends. Never. And my definition of friends is pretty serious. It's not this somebody I know and hang out with. No, you're a father. You're a mother. That's all you ever will be. That's all you will ever be. Your child will get friends of his or her own. Don't ever be jealous of that relationship that they have with other people. Aunt and uncle, you have a different relationship. You are the surrogate mom and dad. Grandparents, you are the surrogate mom and dad. Yes, you enjoy your grandchildren, but that's your legacy. That's not your friend. They're not your friends. Get that out of your head. You have all of these stupid psychologists, which is not an actual science. All of these psychologists saying you need to be friends with your children first. No, you're the parent. And a part of being a parent is you shape the world that your child grows up in. That's why it's so awful when a child is born into a poor family, no matter how temporary that poverty is. We feel for that child because, of course, the child had absolutely no choice in the matter. But if the poor people listen to me and not say, y'all get out of here, y'all didn't have it like I did. I walked through the snow 2 miles barefoot. We didn't have no shoes. We were topo. No, that is not your position. You are not to do that. Everything is sunflowers, daffodils, bunch of sunshine, and God's brown, black earth underneath. That's it. That's the world you're supposed to create for your children. Now, when they turn 25 and everything is, and daffodils and sunshine is set in stone, then at 25 and a day, then you can go, you know what? Don't ever follow in my footsteps of my failures, and here's what. Then you can advise them if something comes up, right? And advisory means financial too. You're the venture capitalist of your grown child's life. You are supposed to swoop in and rescue your child because, and here's the my real pet peeve about black parents. Well, that nigga grown, he can do what? No. The reality is, this is you versus the world. And when I say you, I'm talking about your family. The mom that beat up her kid during the Baltimore thing, she was thinking about her family. She could give a damn about what anybody else thought. Am I right? Now, had she been trained by me, she should have been able to just show up and the child would have said, oh, I'm sorry, my bad. I had a moment of complete insanity. I'm coming home right now. And she wouldn't have had to say a word. No beating, no slapping, no kicking. And she's very lucky that I guess she did some sort of home training, because had that been anybody else, the people that I'm thinking that were looting and pillaging probably would have turned around and socked her, stomped on her, and gone about their business, right? So, and a lot of people say, well, that he was just a thug. No, he's not just a thug. No, he's far from it. A thug would have beat his mom, first for touching him, and second for embarrassing him in public. That's what a thug does. This word thug, which is the replacement word for nigger, so anytime you hear the word thug, just replace it with nigger, and that's what people are saying, right? These thugs, these niggers, this is what they're saying. That child was nowhere near an actual thug. She smacked him, hit him, slapped him all the way home. And not once did he lift a finger to her. Not even in defense. So she did some parenting, I guess to the best of her ability. It's not perfect. Yes, I'm here to tell you the reality of the situation. Everybody wants to praise and honor people. No, it's not perfect. Here's where she could have had a perfect situation. Well, the perfect situation, of course, is the kid wouldn't have been there. But children make mistakes. They're children. That's the whole point of you being the parent and they being children. You're supposed to direct and mold and form their world that I'm talking about here. The perfect situation is she shows up. He sees her and goes, oh, sorry, my parent is here. I lost my head. I apologize. I'm coming right after you. Come, lead the way. That's the perfect mom. Many steps below is what she did, which is beat him around in public. And with police around, beating him in public, she's not thinking very straight herself, right? There's a lot of A lot of people who would say, oh, child, if you get protective services in on that situation, oh my God, she's a horrible, and she got that. Online, she got that. She was criticized. They called into Fox News during the broadcast. How dare that nigger wench beat up her nigger child? Right? That's what they did. Called in, wrote in, emailed, tweeted, and they read it live on national TV. This nigger wench is beating up her nigger monkey bastard son on live TV. Those monkeys don't know how to rear children. Now, the rest of the population, of course, is saying, there you go. That's the way. Set him straight. But I'm saying that's not perfect. I'm talking about perfect. Your Christianity teaches you can't be perfect. I'm telling you can be perfect. There is a perfect situation in every situation. There is, this is perfect, this is less, this is less, this is worse, this is worse, this is the worst, right? There's degrees of everything, and at the top of it is perfection. Perfection, of course, is those two not being in that situation at all. One step under that is she shows up and he just immediately, the training takes over and he follows his mom home without a word. In the situation that I'm talking about now of not confessing your failures to your children, that's the I'm trying to teach you perfection here. You are setting your child up for failure by telling your children about your failures. That is not what you want to convey. And no, a child isn't capable, even grown people. Have you looked around over the vast sea and ocean of idiots out there? Even grown people are not capable of objectively standing back and saying, looking at your situation where you're confessing your failures, as to say, oh, okay, well, this guy failed in this instance. He made this mistake, and this mistake, which led to that failure. Okay, I must make sure I don't do this mistake, and this mistake. No, and I don't care how smart your child is. Your child could play the piano like Mozart. He could play football. He could play basketball like a professional. He still is incapable of having all of that sort of logical process going, especially if you are of the type that you are confessing your failures all the time. Do you know that if you're confessing these failures to your children, your child will then carry that to school? So I'm watching a black man who's successful now, and he said that his mom confessed to him that she dropped out of school, she was homeless, she was pregnant with him. And what did he do at his early life? He dropped out of school. He was homeless. He's a man, so he can't get pregnant, thank God, right? Now, how is it possible? Is that a coincidence? There are no such things as coincidences. Just like all of these black men being in prison. Is that a coincidence? It's not. There's no such thing as a coincidence. So when you confess your failures to your child, the child takes this to school with them, and it sits at the back of their mind. My dad dropped out of 7th grade. Oh, that must mean I'm gonna drop out of school at 7th grade. And their grades go down, schoolwork goes down, start being truant, and then finally they come to the decision that they're gonna drop out of school at 7th grade. If nothing else intervenes, that's what's gonna happen. Why? Because that's what you set in motion. That's what you told them to do. You told them to drop out of school at 7th grade. You're thinking you're imparting some sort of wisdom. That is not. You don't impart wisdom to children. They're not gray-bearded 60-year-old men. They're children. You know what you impart to your child? When I was in school, I was fantastic. Now, I want you to look at this. In the olden days, this is before I was born, so some of you still alive might know what I'm talking about. In the olden days, children looked up to their parents. And let me be a little bit of a realist and a cynic right now. I bet you their parents actually lied to them constantly. Oh yes, son, I was in the Boy Scouts. I knew every knot. What does that set in motion? I'm in the Boy Scouts. If my dad knew every knot, I should know every knot. You see how this... It sets it in motion. It sets it in motion. Not, I dropped out of high school in the ninth grade. What does that set in motion? Well, if my dad dropped out of high school in the ninth grade, that must mean I should drop out of school in the ninth grade. You know what? Right? You know the saying that says, if you believe you will succeed, if you believe you will fail, both will become true. So it has nothing to do with the reality of the situation. It has everything of where your belief system is. And you, as a parent to children, are setting up their belief system. This is exactly what you're doing. That's why you're a Christian, or you're a Muslim, or you're a Jew. It's because your parents set up that belief system in you. Or you're an atheist. Why? Because your parents set up that belief system in you. I do not believe in God is the same as I believe in God. Why? The whole idea is that you believe something. I believe that God does not exist. It still comes from a place of I believe. And this belief system is set up by circumstances in your life. Those circumstances could be your parents. A lot of people don't understand that. They go through life and they say, oh, why am I unsuccessful? Why don't you stop, take a look at what your parents told you growing up? Now, so in the 50s, 40s, 30s, children looked up to their parent, probably, like I'm being cynical, probably because the parents lied to them. But it was coming from a great place. It was coming from a fantastic place. Now, if you have a small child who's too small for his age, or a small girl, and you put up unrealistic goals like, why, I'm a strapping 6'7" father. You know, I played college basketball and I went there on scholarship. To your 5'2" son, that might be frustrating. So don't put a belief system that is unrealistic, and don't be too realistic with your whole confession. Oh, I had a hard life. No, nobody wants to hear that. You don't want to hear that. Do you have a relative that every time you come around something is wrong? You hate being around that relative, don't you? This is what I'm talking about. Don't be that horrible parent, that horrible relative to your child. No confessions, none. Stop them. Not your friend. No, you're the parent. You're the parent forever. You're the father forever. And yes, you are supposed to rescue your children financially when they are grown. Yes. Don't say the government will take care of it. No, that's not how it works. We were always a proud race in the United States. All the way up until the 60s, it seems. We were always a proud race. We didn't take handouts, and we helped each other. And now that is something that black people get confused with. Helping each other on an individual basis is perfectly okay. It is not okay for the government to help people, because the government is the devil, and the government wants its pound of flesh. What does that mean? That means that the devil, this has come from the story where the devil made a deal with somebody, and in return, after the deal was made and the person was rich and blah, 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 the devil came and said, I need my pound of flesh. Now, the person is thinking they're going to take a pound of flesh on their stomach or their leg. No, they meant their heart. So the devil snatches out the heart. He's got his pound of flesh, and the person is dead. And, everything that the person wanted had bargained for was all ruined, right? So the family goes broke and everybody dies, right? The government wants its pound of flesh. In my allegory, the government is the devil. What's the pound of flesh? We will feed you, but you cannot get married. The father of your children cannot be a father to them. That's the pound of flesh, right? And we're going to make sure that we incarcerate any potential fathers in the lower classes of the black community. There's no coincidence about this. Everybody just thinks it's a coincidence. That's just a coincidence. That guy did crime. There are plenty of people who do crime. Asians do crime, Jews do crime, white people do crime. There are plenty of people who do crime. And police look the other way. And in fact, not only that, a lot of times people don't do crime. Black men don't do crime. But because they are a lower class, they don't understand the legal system. The policemen bamboozle them and say, we're going to charge you with this, 12 different charges. But tell you what, we're going to make a deal and you're going to plead and you're only going to go to jail for 20 years. And the prosecutor doesn't care. I mean, the defense lawyer doesn't care. They get paid regardless. Did you hear me? Regardless. It's not a coincidence. And then this idiot then has a child when he gets out. He has a child when he gets out. He's 40. He's still relatively young to the world. And I had a hard life. I went to jail, and you got to get respect in jail. No. What did I say? Sunflowers, daffodils, sunshine, and God's brown earth in between your toes. That's the world that you're supposed to paint to your children. Now, I know there's one lady who says that she listens to me with her son. That's the world you're supposed to create for your child. Everything is hunky-dory all the time. Oh, I don't know how we're going to make rent and all the bills. No, don't tell your child that. That is not, he's not your friend. He's not your advisor. He's not your go-to, none of that. He is your child. Everything is A-okay all the time. They came out with a commercial, or they said it in a lot of TV shows way back in the day, talking about wives to husbands. You are supposed to greet your husband at the end of the day with a drink or a pipe or a cigar, take his shoes, have his house slippers ready, and a smile. And in fact, never let your husband see you without a smile. What does that do? They were saying as a wife, you're supposed to create the home to be this welcoming, loving, happy place to come home to after the rigors of working all day. Forget what they say today of what a wife is supposed to do, because that has nothing to do with being a wife. That has everything to do with being me, I'm getting a divorce. That's today. I'm talking about back then. So I want to convey that to parents. When your child comes around, always have a smile. Don't always have food now, because you're going to fatten up your kid, and that's terrible. You don't want fat kids, because that sets them up for life. Hello? That sets them up for that cancer, diabetes, and all this other stuff, heart disease. So, right? Maybe some carrots. If you feed your children this stuff and grow it yourself, trust me, the stuff that you buy at the store is horrible. Tastes horrible, tastes like cardboard. That's why your children don't like it. If you grow your own peas, your own carrots, your own lettuce in your garden, and you enrich the soil and make sure the soil has all the nutrition that the plant needs to grow big, healthy, and strong, it's going to taste fantastic, especially when it ripens right on the vine, right? But every time your child comes around, you should have a smile. I don't care if you're dirt poor living in the projects. Did you hear me? I don't care if you're living in a cardboard box. Did you hear the story about the mom living in a cardboard box, completely homeless with her daughter, and the daughter ends up going to Harvard because the mom stayed on her and make sure she went to school, didn't miss a day, wasn't late, never, was always there, got straight A's. Went to Harvard. So don't say it can't be done. I can't be strong enough to have a smile on my face all the time. Yes, you can. Think about that mother living in a cardboard box. Yes, you can. I'm not Barack Obama. And what he's saying, yes, you can, was a communistic chant. You should have a smile on your face every time your child comes around. And yes, wives should have a smile on their face every time their husband comes around. Otherwise, why are you married? And they say, even if the stove blew up, and they said, if there are problems in the house, ignore the problems for an entire hour after hubby gets home, because nobody wants to be greeted in it. And that was a big deal. The man comes home from working all day, putting up with crap all day. And as soon as he gets through the door, where you been? Blah, blah, blah. This is wrong. You ain't fixed it yet. No. Greet him with a smile. If there are problems in the home, don't say anything for an hour or two. Serve dinner. After dinner, let them rest. And then say, by the way, today the stove blew up and you need to take the position of what are we going to do? What are we going to do? You know what? You might not lift a finger, but you include yourself, right? With your children. Mom, this went wrong at school. Okay, what can we do to fix it, right? You're including the child in that too. All right, I think I've beaten this dead. Thank you for watching the Shakaama Live Show. I'm being serious. Your child is not your friend. You can't confess stuff to your children. You are creating their world, and their world should be perfect, happy, perfect. If they're getting bad grades in one subject, work with them, and reward them when they get it right. Reward for right. Reward for right. What did I just say? I didn't say punish for wrong. I said reward for right. That's how you do it. Reward for right. In all parenting, reward for right. Children are simple. I didn't say they're stupid. Stupid means they can't learn. Reward for right. That sets up the precedence of, I did something right. I did something right. I did something right. That's what the Democrats do to black people. Come apply here and you can get free food. You can get free housing. You can get free daycare in some states. It's rewarding you for doing right in their eyes, right? It's wrong on anybody else, any wise observation and analysis of the situation. But I'm applying this in this allegory to parenting. Reward, always reward for right. And don't say, don't do this. Say, we don't do this. We, always say we, me and you. We're in this together. We are the McDonald's. We are the McDougalls. We are the Johnsons. We Johnsons don't do that. What does that do? That does two things. That stops the behavior and that instills in the person a sense of family and loyalty to the family. We Johnsons don't hit each other. We Johnsons don't get in trouble. What are you saying? You're not saying don't do this. A lot of times negative creates this thing of, I gotta do it. Don't push that button. We Johnsons don't push that button. What does that do? That goes, well, I'm a Johnson. Oh, maybe I should ignore the button too. Okay, you see, it's psychology. Perfect world, happy days, smile all the time, and I don't want any negative comments on this video. Talking about, that's just unreal. No, I'm talking about parenting. If you don't understand that you are actually doing something to another human, then you really don't need to be actually listen to my channel because you're not smart enough to go along with what I'm telling you. And I'm assuming everybody listening to this is actually wise enough to step back, do what? Apply some logic to the situation and go, okay, so he's conveying that parenting is a lot of psychology. If I want my child to grow up happy, I just create this happy veneer on everything and my child will be happy. Yes. What do they say? In business, fake it until it's real. Fake being rich until you're rich. It happens. It works. It really does work. Thank you for watching the Shakaama Live Show.